Good morning, and thank you for joining me this morning for our Monday morning espresso shot this week. Let us begin first by placing our awareness in the area of the heart. Take slow, deep, gentle breaths and experience these flows as they're moving into your heart and flowing out of your heart, breathing a little slower, a little gentler than you normally would. And just imagine them flowing in and out of your heart, breathing symmetrically. You take 5 seconds to breathe in, take 5 seconds to breathe out. Balance your autonomic nervous system. And as you settle into these slow moving, gentle breaths, see if you can take these breaths even deeper. Imagine them flowing into your heart and down to your perineum or root chakra, and then exhale from your root chakra and out from your heart. You will be breathing from your nose or your mouth, but this visualization allows you to maintain awareness of your body, sense your body, become more self-aware as you breathe into your heart, down to your root chakra and out from your root chakra and beyond your heart. When your mind drifts, when you begin to experience thoughts, become the observer of those thoughts. Do not put yourself inside that particular image. Pull yourself out and observe it as if you are watching yourself in that particular unfolding. And then continue to take these slow, deep, gentle breaths and imagine them flowing in and out of your heart. If you had your eyes closed, you may open them now. Continue your breath practice through this process. Let's now begin today's topic, the rise of the feminine. Some very interesting things happening in the world, and they've been happening for a while now. But I want to be more topical today, and let's talk about what's happening in Iran, specifically with the issue that has been at the forefront of our mainstream news media and some of the social media. There's a 22-year-old woman that died in police custody. She was arrested by the so-called morality police in Tehran, in Iran, because she didn't fully cover her head. And so the headscarf did not cover. She had a headscarf on, but did not cover some of the hair. And so they took her in custody, and she died in custody. Given that, a decade ago, we would not have heard much about it. But there are huge protests happening. 8 people died in these protests, but at the hands of the Tehran government. But the women and the young women and the mothers and even the men who support the protests are rising up against the government. As a matter of fact, the president of Iran, who's a hardliner, went to New York to be interviewed on CNN, and he insisted that the interviewer wear a hijab. She refused, so he refused to be interviewed by her. These are the things that are going on, and what I'm encouraged and saddened at the same time. But I'm encouraged by the fact that the women are rising up, the feminine. Now, feminine does not mean only women. It means anybody who has a balanced sense of masculine and feminine, and all of us have that. Every one of us is born with a balance of masculine and feminine. We express them differently. When our masculine becomes toxic, we exert control and force others to do something, or try and at least attempt that. And when our feminine becomes more balanced, the feminine asserts a very gentle and supportive confrontation or opposition to anything that does not line up with her. Now, I have 2 daughters in their early 20s, and the day I began celebrating, when I realized something amazing was happening with them, was the day they told me they no longer wanted to follow the same path of spirituality that I followed traditionally. They said, no, that's not for us. And they began to protest. And that was the day I began celebrating, because they're now stepping up and shedding away those blocks and layers that others have forced upon them. And this is what's happening in Iran. It's happening in Russia as well. When you look at what's going on in Russia, mothers are protesting the conscription attempt by the toxic masculine regime, that all they understand is how to exert war and not peace. And so that's something that is happening globally, and it's happening right now. And the women, the feminine, is rising up. As a matter of fact, the masculine is supporting the actual people in the trenches by providing technology. When I say the masculine, I mean the masculine energy is all about technology and things like that, as we traditionally ascribe to them. Of course, there are women who develop technology as well. But the actual, when I talk about the energetic level of masculine and feminine, the masculine is rising up to support the feminine energy by providing technology, so that people in Tehran, people in Russia can actually broadcast some of what's going on in the ground, so that the people, the grassroots, can support the cause, because we know how that tide will turn. Now, what's happening on the inside is an important aspect for each one of us. What is happening for us? What kind of struggles are we going through? Because these things are happening on the macro front, but there's also things happening on the micro front, on the inside of each individual. Whether you're in Ukraine or Russia, or whether you're in Tehran or somewhere else, every one of us is experiencing this change. And if you look at what's going on in the corporate world, you look at people no longer standing and saying, no, we're going to work like slogs. We're going to, provide service unconditionally to the corporate masters. They're saying, no, we want work-life balance. They're rising up. The work-life balance is a balanced energy. It's a balanced masculine and feminine energy. They want to spend more time with the family. That's the feminine energy. They want to spend more time recreation. That's a masculine energy. They don't want to fail their families. And this is something that's happening on the inside for each one of us. And so how are we going to rise and balance ourselves? That is a question, perhaps for another day. But I just wanted to kind of bring this forth, saying that whatever is happening on the global front is happening on the inside front as well. So we need to begin to start igniting ourselves from inside out. And the best way to do it, at least one of the ways to do it, is what we do here every week, is to actually start placing our awareness in the area of the heart. And this is what we will do next. We will take the next 5 minutes and place our awareness in the area of the heart and begin slow, deep, gentle breaths. And this time, we begin to create that balanced masculine, feminine within us. As our heart beats, there's a masculine action where it pumps blood into our system. And then there's a feminine action where it actually draws blood in and cleanses the blood. That's a masculine and feminine pumping. If you look at the heart rate variability curve of our heart's rhythm, you will see a sinusoidal wave, which means that heart rate goes up very slowly as you breathe in, and heart rate comes back down very slowly as you exhale. That's the masculine, feminine activity that's going on. So as we take these slow, deep breaths and experience these breaths flowing in and out of our heart, we begin to experience a regenerative emotion. The one of gratitude is a powerful one. And as we intensify this emotion within us by bringing gratitude into our hearts, by imagining scenarios or individuals or reflecting on things that we're really grateful about, this will help us create a more balanced masculine, feminine perception, action, compassion. So let us continue this practice by experiencing gratitude and appreciation into our hearts. Slow, deep, gentle breaths as we experience gratitude and appreciation. Now begin to shine our gratitude to those who are standing up for justice, standing up for change across the world, the men, the women, the children. Let us show our undying gratitude for their sacrifices, for their courage, for rising up and bringing light to humanity, for inspiring the rest of us to do that from within us, to inspire us, to look around us and become more balanced. Let us experience gratitude. Let us give gratitude and thanks to these courageous individuals who have taken upon themselves to step forward and rise. If you had your eyes closed, you may open them. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Appreciate your participation. And I'm happy to take your questions, reflections, comments, anything. Please do type those in. In the meantime, I just wanted to let you know that the October 1st and 2nd weekend is filling up. So if you are in the Calgary area or Okotoks area or nearby in Alberta, please do join us. I'll be presenting on Saturday, October 1st. I have two workshops. I'm also featured on Healing Wednesdays on October the 12th. I'll be there. I'll be talking about owning your future. So if you are able to, and this is virtual events, if you're able to join us, fantastic. My emails that I send out will have this information on how you can register. And if I can help support you, help you step out of your own way, I'm happy to do that. Please connect with me and we can do that. All right, let us look at, there are some comments coming through. Let us go right to those comments for a second here. All right. Dawn, thank you. Dawn says this balance is sure a theme these days, a call to the rejection of duality. Duality coming into balance seems to be crossing masculine and feminine, but also in other general aspects of human existence. Dawn, duality is something that, we can never escape. It's about the balanced duality. Duality is, we have this the spiritual side of us, the energetic side of us, and we have this physical side of us. And, studies have shown, and we've seen this, decades ago, there was a study by I believe it was a Russian, who studied mice. And he realized that the energetic field around the mice, because he was able to measure the electromagnetic field around the mice, when the electromagnetic field changed around around a particular area of a set of mice, days or weeks later, the mouse developed cancer in that area. So we know that there's this energetic part of us, which is the one side of the duality kind of equation, that actually is there to set up a field for our physical body to actually catch up to that. So if it's a traumatic energy that we ever experienced, then the disease sets in because it's an incoherent establishment. And so the idea about duality is not about getting rid of duality, but it's about recognizing duality and bringing duality into balance such that the masculine and feminine, which is a duality, is actually brought into coherence, so that we are actually doing the heart's work, the push and the pull, but in a way that we're moving forward. Everything in this universe it works on push-pull, duality, contrast, and that's the way on the physical level how we move forward. Thank you for that, Don. Dr. Wolf, my heart breaks for the women who give their lives for their own freedom, their sisters and all of humanity. Another reason I'm looking forward to our recording time together about the power in the balance of masculine and feminine. Yes, we do have something that's coming up very shortly. We're going to be recording a masculine feminine balance. So wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Wolf. You're most welcome. Michelle responded, thank you for bringing to light this age-old issue, Shamir. Perspective of polarity is also ages-old, that which brings balance to the universe. Yes. Dr. John DeMartini states there must always be the yin and the yang in every situation. Absolutely. You've got a few more comments about Rudolf Steiner, pumps the blood. Yes, absolutely. The movement. Yes, thank you for that reflection, Michelle. I couldn't agree with you more. We need to embrace duality. Duality is there. It's a matter of the unbalanced dualities where we have the masculine unbalance is when we try and exert control over situations rather than allowing and navigating through them in a heart-centered way by bringing the feminine in the balance with masculine. The feminine toxicity is also there. That could happen. We've seen women who are also trying to exert control in a feminine way, and then there's this toxicity that happens. It's been happening all over the place. So bringing ourselves into that balance of masculine, feminine, and having that wisdom to be able to move forward rather than and not step on people, but bring them along and win their hearts and their minds. And that is really the key to anything we do in our lives. If we're going to succeed in our personal lives, we're going to have to do that. But there is a point where we begin, and the change management theory is very clear. There's this state of a frozen state of where status quo is. Then you move through a neutral zone, they call it. A neutral zone, meaning that there's two of them coexist at the same time. So you have this balanced energy, and you have the toxic energy that's coexisting, which means that they're at odds with each other, and one of them is exerting control over the other. And therefore, in order to counterbalance the polarities. Everybody needs to become unbalanced in order to bring a neutral state in there, and then eventually overcome and go into the new state. And that's exactly what's happening now. We're in that state of in the forming state, as we call it, storming, norming, and forming and change management. But in the forming state, where two of them are existing, and we need to make that change. And I truly believe, if you see what's going on around us, and you look at what happened with the Me Too movement, because that started a while back, these waves are moving through, and I believe that the balance is winning, if I may use that word, because I think that there's a lot more consciousness, awareness that's happening. Some of them is going way too far, but I guess that needs to happen in order to balance the way too far right-wing masculine toxicity. So those things need to happen in order to bring back to the center a little bit more balance. So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you for triggering that conversation, Michelle. All right, no more comments coming through. So I want to thank you for joining me this morning. We'll see you another time, perhaps in the future. Take care for now.